Kobe Bryant will go down in history as the athlete with arguably the strongest mentality of all time. Mamba Mentality was the mindset and approach to life that Kobe Bryant embodied over an NBA career that saw him win 5 championships, become an all-star on 18 occasions, and win the 2008 MVP award. It was an approach to life where Kobe relentlessly pursued excellence, adopted a never-give-up attitude, and made a daily commitment to constant improvement. But what really was Mamba Mentality beyond this abstract philosophy? How did Kobe Bryant showcase it to the world on a practical level? Let's explore 3 moments from Kobe's career that, to me at least, give us the rawest displays of Mamba Mentality. Did you flinch? Be honest, and there's no shame if you did, because that's something that's hardwired into us. But even if something is hardwired into us, we can condition ourselves out of it through deliberate focus and practice. And this is exactly what we see in moment 1. Kobe doesn't flinch. Even if you've never watched a basketball game in your life, chances are you've probably seen this clip. It shows Orlando Magic's Matt Barnes pump fake a pass straight at Kobe's face, but he doesn't even flinch. It defies anatomical knowledge. Kobe's hand should go up to protect his face. He should turn to the side and slightly cower backwards. He should at least blink, but he doesn't. And this tells us so much about Mamba Mentality. It tells us we can all get to the point of conditioning ourselves to remove these hardwired responses, whether they're physiological ones or psychological ones related to fear, anxiety, and worry. It can tell us that through taming our primitive mind, we can channel our focus so deeply that no threat can faze us. If you want to perform your best, then it's absolutely imperative that you practice under severe stress or pressure. To remain ice cold when it counts is the result of repeatedly turning up the heat in safer environments, whether this is in training sessions or performance domain related role plays. And this moment on the court for Kobe was the result of years of intense training. Being the first guy in the gym and the last one to leave, 6 hours of training a day, 6 days a week. There are simply no shortcuts to creating new mental and physical shortcuts. You have to practice, practice, practice until something is so ingrained in you that it's more difficult not to do. And Kobe not showing a shred of fear was one of these things. But one of the downsides of this relentless work ethic was that Kobe often pushed his body to the absolute limits. We've all seen the ice pack images. This was a man who would play hundreds of games throughout his career whilst in pain. Kobe was just simply known for this. There was the time he decided to shoot hoops with his weaker hand in his pajamas whilst his right hand was in a cast after he'd broken it. And there was the time he managed to sink free throws immediately after tearing his Achilles tendon. But perhaps the most lesson-worthy refusal to be defeated by injury was in a game against the San Antonio Spurs in Kobe's last season in 2016. And it was what happened in that game that is our second moment that best shows Mamba Mentality. After a slip on the court, it became clear that Kobe was hurt as he hunched over clutching at his hand. Fans on the front row caught a glimpse of what happened, flinched in disgust. Kobe had dislocated his finger. Instead of writhing around in pain, he swiftly walked over to the side of the court with Lakers trainer Gary Vitti. Kobe, still slightly hunched, holds his hand in Vitti's, who then pops it back into place. You see Kobe's body convulse in severe pain for what amasses to a fraction of a second. And in that same second, he then strolls back onto the court like nothing happened and laughs it off with Spurs' Tim Duncan. In an era where athletes are increasingly accused of being made of glass, both physically and mentally, what this moment really reveals is a lesson that's often forgotten. It shows us to not allow ourselves to make excuses when faced with pain, resistance, or hurdles. When something unsettling occurs, it's important to remain calm, particularly if it occurs in the midst of a performance. Of course, this is not applicable to all major sports injuries, but I think it is applicable to most of the day-to-day issues that we face in our lives. Whether it's a project that gets moved forward or a particularly tough exam, these are situations in which the best thing we can actually do is just momentarily walk off the court and pop our composure back into place. That was Kobe Bryant in a nutshell. Composure trumped over any other emotion that tried to surface, and he consistently showed that for 2 decades in the NBA. Above all else, what people think about Mamba Mentality and what it really meant, it just comes down to that, consistency. For Kobe, his life was all about remaining consistent in his thoughts, his decisions, and his actions. It didn't matter the context, he wanted to remain consistently committed. And for me at least, there's one moment that truly symbolizes this. It was the premiere week of the 2007-8 season, and Kobe's LA Lakers were up against the Denver Nuggets. And with 6 minutes to go in the final quarter, the Lakers were up 17 points. The game was over. Kobe has the ball stolen off him just as he enters the Nuggets' paint. The ball is passed to Andre Miller of the Nuggets, who at this point must be at least 50 feet ahead of Kobe, and is approaching the Lakers' hoop for an easy layup. And the commentator even states,
and they'll finish off with Andre Miller.
But as that last syllable is uttered, the courtside mics pick up a loud slam. Somehow, Kobe has covered 85 feet in less than 4 seconds and thrown himself vertically to swat the ball against the backboard for a successful block and to prevent Miller from cutting the impossible to catch points deficit. Kobe didn't need to do this. The game was already won. But to him, it was imperative. In that moment, we see why Kobe Bryant was so revered. We repeatedly hear cliches about leaving it out on the court. But deep down, so ever few actually do this. Most of us secretly love getting away with doing the bare minimum, and we delude ourselves about our true work ethic. But with Kobe Bryant, there was no delusion. He made a deliberate choice to give everything to his sport and remain committed to that choice right up until the day he passed. Mamba Mentality is more than anything about work, consistently doing, moving forward, and trying that extra bit harder. Irrespective of the result, just compete. It's simple, but it's not easy. And that's why there will only ever be one Kobe Bryant.